Perplexity used to be a Silicon Valley darling. Investors poured hundreds of millions of dollars into the company, hoping it would dethrone Google as the king of search. But things haven't quite worked out that way. We've already talked about Perplexity's wrapper allegations, insane cash burn, and browser failure. But somehow, in the past few months, things have gone from bad to worse. While the company is proudly claiming hundreds of millions in annual revenue, users are abandoning the platform and executives are desperate for a solution. Today, we're going to discuss why Perplexity just might be the first AI giant to fall. Let's get right into it. Imagine this. You have a loyal user base who truly enjoys using your product. They're happy, paying a monthly subscription, and eagerly awaiting your newest update. What should you, a tech CEO, do next? Well, how about secretly canceling subscriptions and placing restrictive limits on user queries? Yeah, I don't think that sounds like a good idea either, but apparently Perplexity CEO Aravind Srinivas thought otherwise. For the first few years of operations, Perplexity was seen as a product with a generous free tier and a clear subscription offer. But in early 2026, things changed. Suddenly, Perplexity began capping the number of deep research queries that users could access on their free and pro tiers. Deep research was one of Perplexity's biggest differentiators, so users were understandably frustrated. But things got even worse. Soon, users reported that Perplexity was randomly canceling their pro memberships and forcing them to use the free tier. Many of these users had joined as a part of different promotions through phone carriers and other partners. Once Perplexity saw the amount of money they were losing on these partnerships, they decided something had to be done. So, they went behind users' backs and secretly downgraded accounts. When users logged back in, they were met with prompts to upgrade their subscription. That's not just scummy, some users even think that it was illegal. And things just kept getting worse. By mid-2026, users complained that Perplexity was further restricting deep research queries for individuals. Instead, Perplexity was focused on upselling as many people as possible to their $200 per month max subscription and prioritizing enterprise contracts. Even if you wanted to sign up for a subscription, Perplexity hides their true search and query limits from users. By severely limiting their biggest competitive advantage, Perplexity is forcing its users to use other models for citation and research queries. At the end of the day, the market for $200 individual AI subscriptions is pretty small. But it makes sense that Perplexity was feeling pressured. All AI companies are currently losing staggering amounts of money, and because Perplexity relies heavily on third-party models, their costs can be even higher than OpenAI or Anthropic. So, limiting features and raising prices seems like a reasonable way to stem the unsustainable cash burn. But limiting users in this way can limit cash inflow even more severely. If Perplexity's prices continue to climb, users will subscribe to cheaper models, even if the research capabilities are worse. At the end of the day, it seems that Perplexity may not have the institutional backing and business model to withstand the current AI game of attrition. Before we go any further, I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on Perplexity? Are you a fan or are you a skeptic? I know that there are some diehard fans of Perplexity, but to be honest, I haven't found it to be strikingly better than the competition. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. After seeing the success of OpenClaw, Perplexity decided to join the hype train. So, in late February 2026, they released Perplexity Computer. Here's how CEO Aravind Srinivas described it.
You essentially get a digital worker on the cloud that's running securely on a sandbox with all access to your personal data and persistent storage. That is essentially what Computer is. And you brought in OpenClaw. The main difference, as you said, is security. It's all running on the server side securely, does not go override your files, does not import malware from a skills hub somewhere on the internet, does not have, you don't give it full access to all your messages if you don't want to.
So, Perplexity is pitching customers on a digital employee that will help with tackling overflowing to-do lists. Since OpenClaw was such a big success, OpenClaw with improved security and easier setup should be a massive win, right? Well, there's a few problems. First, access to Perplexity Computer is part of the expensive $200 monthly max subscription. Not only that, but computer users are throttled hard by credit limits even on this plan. Users report burning through their monthly credit allowance in just a few days. What's the point of having a digital employee if they can only work for a few days out of the month? You also aren't able to know how many tokens an agent will use for a given action in advance, so you just have to prompt and pray you don't hit a usage limit. Again, if Perplexity was transparent about these limits, users could make informed decisions about whether Computer makes sense for their workflow. But, as it stands, Perplexity loves to hide rate limits from users. To be fair, Perplexity Computer does beat OpenClaw in one area: setup. OpenClaw requires downloading and configuring different programs and interfaces, while Computer is more of a plug-and-play system. But in nearly every other use case, OpenClaw wins. Let's say you're just experimenting with AI agents. In that case, directly paying for tokens for OpenClaw is dramatically cheaper than the $200 max subscription. For professionals, you'd likely be drawn to OpenClaw's customizability and prefer the deeper level of control available compared to Computer. And forget enterprise customers. They don't want to deal with Perplexity's mysterious rate limits. Plus, their in-house IT teams will have the technical know-how to get OpenClaw agents set up and running properly. The only time it makes sense to sign up for Computer is if you truly value the plug-and-play model. Just be prepared to pay for it. Perplexity also has a shady history with its agents. In late 2025, Amazon sued Perplexity, claiming that AI agents from its Comet browser were impersonating humans and buying things on behalf of Amazon customers. Even after Amazon blocked traffic from the Comet browser, Perplexity modified Comet to impersonate Google Chrome and continue shopping. In March 2026, a judge ruled in Amazon's favor, saying that Perplexity had the user's permission to purchase things on Amazon, but not Amazon's permission. Now, Perplexity's AI agents are banned from purchasing items on Amazon on behalf of users. That's a major blow to Perplexity's agentic dream. But we haven't even gotten to the biggest problem facing Perplexity. One of Perplexity's main selling points is that it offers access to top AIs like Claude, ChatGPT, and open source models. This is great for users. You get to pay one subscription and access all of the best AIs. It might be great for users, but it's a nightmare for Perplexity. Companies like OpenAI and Anthropic are already losing money on their models, so it's reasonable to assume that they aren't giving Perplexity any discounts to access ChatGPT or Claude. Perplexity then has to pay for every query routed through these models. So, Perplexity's core search business is likely deeply unprofitable at the current unsustainable price for tokens. What happens when OpenAI and Anthropic raise the prices for their models? Perplexity will have to raise prices as well, pushing more users to sign up for one of the top models directly. After all, is deep research really worth it when you have to deal with unknown limits and shady subscription practices? Perplexity's value proposition got even more shaky when ChatGPT and others introduced citations. In an attempt to stop bleeding money on search, Perplexity introduced Sonar, their own AI model. It's built on Meta's open source Llama model, and Perplexity likes to claim that it's cutting edge. But user reviews have been mixed. Some users reported just 10 messages per day with top models before being forced to use Sonar, which felt noticeably weaker and less useful. Wouldn't it be better to just sign up for a top model directly, especially if they offer citations and research abilities? Although it's tried to differentiate, at the end of the day, Perplexity's core business is not much more than an AI wrapper. And that may be Perplexity's biggest problem of all. They built a business on top of models they don't own, infrastructure they don't control, and features that competitors can copy overnight. But we've only scratched the surface of Perplexity's problems. Did you know that Perplexity launched a browser that tried to compete directly with Chrome? Let's just say it didn't end well. Check out our previous video on Perplexity to learn more.